All right, we're live here. Kayak Mike here with Andrew Green, the owner of PKA Professional Kayak Anglers. I'm going to share the live in a few groups here while Andrew introduces himself. This is going to be the Lake Tawakoni recap of his championship event recap and of the King Cat National Kayak Trail. So, all right, then go ahead and introduce yourself, Andrew, and take it away for a couple seconds.
All right, so I'm Andrew Green. So we're just going to discuss the North Texas Kayak Championship that we had on Tawakoni alongside the King Cat National Trail there at Tawakoni. We had 15 anglers participate in the North Texas series, and I believe we had 9 anglers. Let me pull that up.
Yes, it was 9 anglers in that one.
Nine anglers for the King Cat series. And I mean, we got pretty lucky because pre-fishing was tough. And then day of the tournament, we had that first day, that Saturday, we had a bunch of big fish caught.
Yeah. That Saturday changed. It changed a lot.
Yeah.
I kind of did a little bit of a Hail Mary myself, and that Saturday I just launched at the boat ramp and I just went straight towards the dam and went alongside the dam, and I just so happened to run into I just so happened to run in the fish. So
Yeah.
I noticed that when I made that turn, all my bigger fish were coming in like that 40 to 50 foot range or so. They were being caught everywhere, but that's mainly where I was finding mine. Let me just double check here. All right, we're posted up everywhere, I believe, so we should be good to go. Yep, we're posted up everywhere. We're good to go. I think I even did this one on YouTube as well. I'm just going to double check the YouTube. We also have an angler with us, Jeff Esquivel.
Yes,
There we
sir.
go. All right. We're on the YouTube. Everything's going good. All right, very good. So, Jeff, introduce yourself and just give us a little history on your, fishing, your kayak cat fishing experience, and all that fun stuff.
This is my second year with Andrew on what he's got going on. Um, I won it the first year, came up short this year. Pretty much just join you to hope it grows here in North Texas, and you guys got a good thing going. I'm just glad I'm part of it.
Yeah, I'm really glad you guys are part of it too. I love going to these the regional events. Last year when we went to Carolinas, it was awesome to see some of those guys. It was really cool to meet all you guys down there. You guys have a really, really good thing going on down there. We had a couple of Ohio guys come down there. It's the beauty about the kayak scene currently is it's the brotherhood. We're competing against each other. Everybody wants to win, but there is truly a brotherhood that I feel like we have that not every group necessarily has it in every other hobby that exists. What was your game plan, Jeff? So how did you do day one? How did you do day two? Were you dragging? Were you suspending baits? How deep were you? Are you willing to share where you were fishing? You could give us as much information you want or don't want to give.
Yeah, I pretty much found a road that pretty much went into the lake that was there years ago, which was about 10 feet, and then it dropped off to about 50 feet. And it went for a good, probably 500 yards, and I just kept going along that pretty much. Um, I caught my biggest, which was 37, drifting with the live bluegill. I caught really
Oh wait,
big.
did you say live bluegill?
Yes.
Oh, that's
Uh,
awesome.
yeah, my front two poles, I pretty much had huge gizzard shad. And then my back poles, one, I just kind of dragged that bluegill.
Hmm.
But it's looking like they were biting smaller baits because I pretty much fish with, I don't know, 8 to 10 inch gizzard shad.
Hmm. And you were using essentially the whole gizzard shed when you were fishing originally?
No, I would use just the head and then the gut pocket.
Gotcha.
And Sunday, I kind of moved to a little bit smaller bait, and it was a little bit too late because you guys did really good on Saturday.
There were a few. Adam had a really standout weekend. A couple of us from the national side, we did have a good Saturday. I don't want to say we lucked out into the same area. We just kind of fell all like. So Andrew, me, and Adam were all staying in the same house, and I kid you not, all three of us had unique strategies, and all three of us ended up talking about going to the same exact area at some point in time.
Okay. Yeah, you were opposite of where I was.
Yeah.
Different end of the lake, and I don't think it paid off.
Yeah.
And yeah.
Let's see down here. I'm gonna pull up your 37-incher.
I just need to get better on adjusting to where if they're shallow, mid, deep. I got to get better at conditions because we got a lot of rain Friday night, about 3 inches.
Mm-hmm.
And I think it really stirred up the fish.
The lack of, and Andrew, you can touch on this. I truly think what saved a lot of the national guys too was the lack of thermocline. So not having a big thermocline really opened the lake up. I was expecting to be fishing 15-foot or shallower, honestly, the whole entire week. And then when I realized there was no thermocline on the lake, that it made it easier to catch big fish, but a lot harder to catch big fish as well. Because when I was pre-fishing down there, and you could give me your pre-fishing experience, I got into 25 to 35, 18 to 28-inch fish, and I only had 2 fish over 25 inches going into the tournament weekend. The moment I dropped off to about 40 to 50 feet, those nonstop taps kind of went away. And when I changed my bait to a tougher bait, that's when I finally getting into the big fish. Because when I had skipjack on and shad on, like that could get eaten away and destroyed by small fish. So I was constantly having to rebait. But once I put on that tougher, like carp with the skin, you and the eel. Like the eel's impenetrable. Like once I put those on and I got deep, that helped me a ton. Did you notice anything like that yourself?
No. Well, let me ask you this. So Saturday from say 9 to 11, my pole was bent the entire time, but it was alligator gar.
Really?
So when you come across alligator gar, do you guys just get out of there, or do you just stick with it?
I'll let Andrew answer this.
Yeah. Usually when I start running into a bunch of gar, I change up where I'm at.
So
they'll sit there. Yeah, they'll sit there and destroy your bait.
Yeah, they destroy them, and then they let go right at the boat kayak. So that's why I know they're. I got to get better at that.
They tear up your leaders a lot too.
Mm.
So you start getting into them. I just get out of there, go somewhere else.
Okay.
Yeah, we got gar up here, not alligator gar. I wish we had those. Those are so cool. But we have gar up here, but it's the same thing. If I start getting gar hits, this is one of the only times I make a big run is if I start getting gar hits. Because the problem is if you're suspended, they're just going to stay there the whole time. If you're dragging, they're literally just going to follow your bait nonstop, and then you're just going to have to deal with them nonstop. I'll make a big move if I start getting like gar hits or even worse turtle bites. That's when I'll make a big move. To try and get away from them.
All right.
Because here's the thing, a lot of times you can't even get away from them. It's just you're hoping that catfish comes and hits before the gar. Because up here in Ohio, once the water gets warmer, if the gar start biting, you're going to be getting gar hits the whole day. So you're kind of just praying you get into that catfish before those gar come around, and then you got to make a big move after that.
Okay, so, that's good to know, because I really feel like they're taking over these lakes in North Texas.
Well, now that we're getting into the more of the cooler months, the gar activity will slow down quite a bit. So going through the winter months, you usually don't have a whole lot of issues with them, but they're still there, especially if you're suspending. If you're dragging, you don't get a whole lot of issues out of them. But if you're just suspending baits in one spot, they're going to mess with you.
This fish right here, Matt's, made me very, very jealous because The big fish I caught took over 10 minutes to land, and that never happens. I thought it was going to be something like this. And then when I pulled it in, it was just a pudgy, fat fish that,
The forehead. That's it.
yeah, yeah. But mine wasn't long. The problem was mine was only 40.5 inches. Oh, hold on. Let me make it very clear. I'm not upset about the length at all. But it fought like a 45, 46-inch fish. I thought I had a potential, like, PB on the line.
I agree with you. My 37 felt like a 50. I was bubbles everywhere.
Yeah, giant bubbles. It was actually the most bubbles and biggest bubbles I personally ever seen. What kayak is that you're rocking right there?
Say that again.
What kayak is it you're rocking right there? I'm pretty sure that's your fish.
Hobie Outback.
Hobie Outback. Cool.
Yeah, it's pretty solid. I like it. Andrew don't like Hobie, but it's all right.
I never said I didn't like him. I probably would never buy one.
That's awesome. Andrew, I forgot. I was like, Andrew, where's your name? I know you had a good fish. So the three of us on this, we had 3 of the top 5 fish on the weekend, I think. That's pretty cool. Andrew had a nice 41-inch fish as well.
Yeah.
Right there. That's Andrew's fish.
Yeah, that didn't fight like a big fish.
So, question, Jeff, your fish all weekend. Did your fish end up, like, for me, everything fought way out of its league. It just, in my opinion, I would have like the 125-inch fish I caught pre-fishing that hit a suspended bait in 10 foot. I was in 18 foot, but I had a suspended bait about 10 foot down. I thought I had a legit hog on at first, but then he kind of, once I saw him, I was like, oh, that's a really small fish. Were your fish fighting out of their league, or were your fish?
I'll agree. The fish, they got some energy from that rain or something, because they were fighting pretty hard. So yeah, I agree.
Andrew, that's weird. You said your fish, your big one, that one didn't really.
Not until it got up next to the kayak. That's when it finally started fighting. That I caught that one on a planer board, and I thought it was a small fish. So I'm sitting there with my pole just kind of relaxed, and I'm taking the planer board off, just thinking I've just got this small fish on there. Started reeling it in. Once it got up where I could see it in the water, and it's all daylight, that's when it took off and buried. But it wasn't a very long fight either.
That's great. Mine. Well, another problem with mine too. I'm vertically challenged. The big one I caught hit my longest leader. That leader was probably 5 foot. So the problem was I couldn't reach the pole up and get the net down to get to the fish because the leader was so long. Oh, it was so frustrating. Adam got it all on video though. It was pretty. I had to sit down a couple times. I'm not gonna lie, my back was starting to go out. I had to sit down a couple times. Jeff, when you were out there, did you drag it all?
No, but it sounds like I should have though. Just drifting about 0.5 miles per hour.
So that's where I was leading this to. I was just curious your speeds, Andrew. When I saw you were dragging for a bit. What was your speeds at, if you don't mind me asking?
Anywhere from 0.5 to 0.7.
0.5 to 0.7. My second day pre-fishing, I let the wind push me, and it was pushing me between like 0.8 to 1.1. Caught a bunch of fish, nothing big. But day of the tournament, the wind completely laid down. So I didn't have the opportunity to using the wind to push me. So I drug essentially 0.7 to 0.9 the entire time. And that's where I was getting a lot of my fish. The rule of thumb typically is, start at 0.5 and work your way around there. But I thought it was pretty cool because also when you're going faster, I've noticed my hookup ratio is a little better. I think it's just because they have to commit a little harder when you're going a little faster. You know what I mean? So I was curious to see what everyone's speeds were.
Yeah, typically when it's warmer, you can go a little bit faster, and you're going to get better fish.
Now, is this typical weather for this time of year down there, or did we just get really lucky?
No, it's pretty typical weather. What was not typical was the thermocline situation. Typically, the time that we were out there, we're going through a turnover, which we didn't see. So usually we're right at the point where that thermocline's fixing to go away, and we're going to get all that junk that's at the bottom, recirculating in the lakes. But we had a weird year. We had a bunch of rain in the spring, and the summer was a lot cooler than normal. So we had some lakes where we didn't see hardly any thermocline, and we had lakes where we had thermocline only in certain areas, not through the whole lake like we normally see. So a very strange year. And then, that Friday night before the tournament, we had that storm system come through, got quite a bit of rain, which completely changed the fish up. So, I knew guys that were pre-fishing weeks in advance, and I was telling them, I was like, whatever you pre-fish, it's going to be completely different day of the tournament.
Yeah.
Because of this front coming through.
Yeah. That's the give and take for pre-fishing. You can get a lot of information, but man, if a big cold front or if a big change happens, it could wipe all that data out. But at least, you have places where it's not completely useless information. You can find trees with your kayak and your motor, in some places.
Yeah.
Places where it's easier to drag than others and not get so snagged. So it's not completely useless, but it was we were just so blessed with the weather and how the storms came in and left. It was like it was timing our tournament. We never get that lucky. So in our 2 years or 3 years of doing this, we've had 6 or 7 natural disasters occur within an hour of where our event is, the week of the event or the day of the event. We've had tornadoes land in Sandusky, and we've had tornadoes land at Nickajack. We've had hurricanes. We've had like it was just awesome to see the weather finally hold off for us at an event.
Yeah, well, that'd be pretty nice because, it could have been 90 degrees that day. So to have that front come through and keep it cool all day was really nice.
Yeah, and the lay the wind down. The thing that made me worry when I finally launched at about 9:30, the thing that had me most worried was with the conditions essentially being perfect. I thought it was going to kill the fishing because I was like, with my luck, we're not going to have perfect conditions, but then also, catch a lot of fish. But I was completely wrong, which was great. So 63 fish submitted in mine, 138 fish submitted in yours. So we had over 200 fish submitted, and those are just the submitted fish. That doesn't even count all the fish that weren't submitted because people already had their rosters filled up.
Right. And one of the things we did this year, which helped our number of submitted fish, is we implemented a bonus for our Angler of the Year guys. If they could submit what we were calling a bag, which is 25 fish, to the leaderboard, they got bonus points. And we had one angler actually do that, and he's the guy that wound up winning Angler of the Year this year, Joshua Bunch.
That's awesome.
And then we had a couple other guys that were really close to getting that bag bonus of 25 fish.
That's awesome.
I mean, that's a lot of fishing. So
yeah, yes, it is. Where for reference, where I was fishing, I launched essentially right here, and you see where this ledge is. I essentially tried staying on the absolute edge of this ledge the whole entire time, and as long as I was in that 40 to 55 foot of water, I was catching the bigger fish. I was still getting the light taps, but once I came a little shallower, that's when all of the light taps were constantly coming back. I even tried, where is it? I even tried this sledge right here the first day, or the second day, I'm sorry, during pre-fishing. And it was the same as that kind of luck, but I didn't try out here. So I was a little upset I didn't try out here in pre-fishing at all. Could have came home with a little better bag, or maybe improve my slot score. I think I actually put up a limit in the slot for once this whole entire year. Now, Jeff, do you fish any of the national month longs or anything like that?
No, but I look forward to joining now.
Nice.
What's the one called there? Nick Jack, or what's it called?
Oh, so that one. So Nickajack, I was asking, do you fish any of the month-long events? Like,
Sorry. I did it one time.
Mm-hmm.
Just got a little busy with work.
Yeah. Totally get it.
Those Ohio, Tennessee boys, man. They're gonna be tough to beat.
Yeah, they are. We're adjusting our slot format next year. I think it's going to be a lot more competitive. The slot format next year is going to be your 5 fish closest to 30 inches, but 3 of those fish have to be caught in different bodies of water. That way, we don't have some guys going. And I don't.
Awesome.
Yeah, I'm not upset with the guys who did it. I've been saying for years, once Sandusky fishermen start fishing the slot tournament, they're going to be impossible to beat. Well, this year they finally started fishing the slot tournament, and they were impossible to beat. So we're changing the slot format to 3 different bodies of water next year. It has to be 3 year fish, 5 fish total. So I think that's going to change the game up a little bit there. Jeff, as far as national events, do you think you're going to be fishing any national events next year?
Yes, for sure.
Awesome. Do you have any idea, like roughly which ones or which months?
No, but pretty much once I see the schedule, I'll just have to go based off of that.
Gotcha.
But all I'm trying to pretty much saying is I'm pretty much committed to the, what are we going to call this? A hobby, a sport, whatever it is.
Yeah.
I love it.
I will go over the 2026 schedule with you right now. We're
Okay.
starting off at Pickwick, which is the Tennessee River chain in Alabama. That's in March. In May, we're going to Nick Jack or Watts Bar. It's a to be determined still, but it's going to be one of those. That's Tennessee.
Okay.
Sandusky is Ohio, and then more than likely in August we're going to be doing Cape Girardeau, and then September will be Hoover in Ohio. Cape Girardeau, that'll be a fun one because that's where the Mississippi and Ohio River meet. But we're going to have 2 Tennessee rivers, the Ohio River and Mississippi River, all on the boundaries. That's going to be a really fun one. We're back to you guys the 17th next year in Texas. I'll be changing this date because Andrew just gave me the date. Andrew, if you want to, and then we're at Louisiana the following month. Andrew, if you want to hit really quick on your event next year not being a championship event.
Yeah. So I haven't, the schedule's not complete yet, but I can kind of talk about so we're going to do Tawakoni with the National Trail next year in October. And our championship next year for the North Texas Trail will be in November. And that's going to be Lake Worth and Eagle Mountain Lake. So it's dual lake. So you can fish either one of those 2 lakes for that championship tournament next year.
Wow, that's a good idea.
So again, our championship will be a 2-day tournament. So if you fish Eagle Mountain the first day and decide you want to switch it up the next day and go to Lake Worth, you can do that. Or if you want to stay on one lake the whole time, it's totally up to the angler where they fish that weekend. But there will be 2 lakes. They're right on top of each other. So there'll be 2 lakes involved in our championship next year.
Hey, Andrew. This is Joe, brother. Hey,
yeah.
So the championship's moving to November. Did the tournament series get moved back a month, or is there a tournament being added?
So we're dropping the June tournament. June's typically right the middle of the spawn. Yeah, and it's usually one of our toughest tournaments to fish numbers wise. There's usually not any big fish caught in June. It's usually a bunch of smaller fish. So we're dropping June. So we'll basically be taking June and July off, and then starting back up in August. So our November will be the championship. That's
all I catch is them small fish. So I should do well in the tournament.
I'm trying to work on that with you. So I'm trying to get you some bigger fish.
Joe Lopez has joined the chat. So Joe ended up taking 7th in their championship event. He caught a hog. We got a 34-incher here. This was Joe's fish right here. Joe, what kayak are you fishing out of, bud?
It's an old Advanced Angler 120. It's a Cabela's brand, but it's made by 3 Waters.
Gotcha.
That thing used to be at the bottom of the lake, to be honest. I've had so many issues with that kayak.
Man, I've been there, done that with my fair share of kayaks. Would you mind giving us a little info on how your fishing went? How'd your pre-fishing go? Do you know what were your strategies?
So real quick, Joe, he's one of our anglers that comes to pretty much every one of our tournaments, but he lives about 4.5, 5 hours away from us.
Okay. So are you the gentleman who camped?
Yes. They can't. So he drives up from San Antonio to fish our tournaments, which is amazing that he's committing that kind of a drive every tournament. So. Go ahead, Joe. Tell him.
So typically, because my ride or die, my wife, she trails along with me and gets to visit with other friends and stuff. But because we work, we don't get out, to pre-fishing on that. We're usually on the road and typically calling Andrew to meet up for to get my board checked and stuff like that, just because we're not in the area in time. But yeah, there's really no pre-fishing for me at least. Although I'd like to from time to time. Some of these lakes I've never fished before, so. But yeah, the mindset, man. Of course, need bait, get bait, and see the water, fish the water. I had looked at topo maps because I'm not as advanced with my my equipment that I have on my kayak. So I look at topo maps and I start kind of gauging where I wanted to, start fishing at and stuff like that. So again, my setup on my kayak is pretty simple. I got a modified trolling motor that I put on there because my shoulders are bad, but I can only go so far, and run so much with having a drop anchor, pick anchor, drop anchor, pick anchor. So I relatively kind of looked for different drop offs and stuff like that, looking for structure to fish. And I just got out there, hit my first spot, anchored down, and I was marking quite a bit of fish in that 20 to 25 foot range at first, and just trying to get on the board. And I did, very quickly with some of the smaller ones, and then just to get my limit, and then I started, moving and trying to target, obviously bigger fish and stuff like that. So trying to up.
Now when you said, were you suspending when you were out there, or were
Yes,
you
sir. So
casting?
what I started off suspend fishing, and then
Oh my God, did you call me sir?
So yeah, so I suspend fished until I started moving, and I was marking fish, trying to get lines down before I even dropped anchor, and of course I was off point, so I realized I started getting hit drifting, and so I bailed on the suspend anchored fishing and just started drifting, and then I would kind of get back up and move back through the fish, and it's kind of how I caught that my bigger one. And of course, the couple 20 inches that I caught on Sunday was drifting. Just I was moving into the wind with my trolling motor, and then I'd get to a point where I wasn't marking it, and I would just kind of drift back.
Cool. That's one of my favorite ways to fish, is utilizing the wind as my ally.
Yeah.
I love to, especially dragging. I know a lot of people like to drag into the wind using their motor. If I can let that wind push me dragging, it's one of my favorite ways to fish. It's great to hear other people are utilizing Mother Nature as well. Because a lot of times too, if Mother Nature's pushing you like 1 to 1.5, people don't have to understand cats are still going to hit at that speed. They have to eat live fish to survive, and those fish are going a lot faster than 1 mile an hour. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So, yeah, I saw you had that 34 incher there. What was your, as far as the experience? I want to ask Jeff this too. The national guys coming down, all that stuff. Did you enjoy hanging out with the national guys? Did you, how long did you chat with the guys there at the at Chow Camp and stuff? I know I got there. I had to shower before I went over. I felt gross, and then I went and started pigging out. I don't know if I spoke with too many people for too long. Yeah, just give me your experience with the national guys that showed up. And
I didn't have very much of any experience, to be honest. I was fishing where I was at. I didn't see anybody except for day one, first thing in the morning, which was one of the guys fishing our trail. But I know I talked a little bit with and I forget his name, the guy that wound up winning the tournament.
Adam.
So I talked to him a little bit, kind of just about his setup and whatnot. I know he carries 15 rods or something like that on his pole. It was remarkable to see that many on a kayak, but just different techniques and stuff like that. Again, my setup's very old, so it's like, I struggle with my setup that I have on there currently. So I wouldn't dare try to use that much on my thing, but it's and of course YouTube's been my best platform for learning, trying to learn different techniques and stuff like that. So. But yeah, I didn't get a chance to sit down and speak with many of them.
Also, Bud, if we are ever at an event together and it rains and you're camping, you just call me or message me. You can always crash at my Airbnb. Always.
I appreciate that, man. Yeah, my wife and I, we knew it was gonna rain. We have a pretty awesome tent, and we're like, if I could bring the rain on, man. We've endured some monsoons, and the rain wasn't a big deal. Thunder.
So you're professionals.
It was something to experience, but then. The wind was coming. It felt like it was coming out of the west, and we had my truck blocking the tent to kind of help cut that wind. and then it turned on us coming southeast straight off the lake, and man, it fucking wreaked havoc on us. And I think we jumped up out of the rack probably around 3:00 in the morning, and fought the wind for about 2.5 hours. And my wife finally caught some rest, and I just propped the chair up and started looking back at the map and trying to figure out what I was going to do. But yeah, it was pretty exciting. It was definitely an experience.
Yeah, my dude, my camping days are done. When I heard you were camping, I'm like, he's a beast. I'm like, whoever that man is, he's a beast, because I am done with that stuff.
Yeah, I tell you, I've slept in every climbing place and temperature, and from desert to forest to you name it, I've been there. As a retired Marine, but my wife
Thank you
having
for your
done it that
service.
night was definitely freaking. She was boss that night, man. And of course we have a little tent that we can actually pop up in the back of the truck, and we've done that the tournament prior to that. So, depending on the weather, it's actually it's nice, but yeah, man, I don't think we'll be doing that again either.
Yeah, Jeff, give me your experience on the national guys. Like, did you talk to Matt, Adam? Did we? How often did we chat?
I talked to Matt. My goal on these tournaments is just to catch trophy catfish.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm just asking, what is it like? What's it feel like? And they all say, look for the bubbles. You got a big one when you see the bubbles. And and on top of that, I'm pretty competitive. So when I heard you guys are coming to town, I knew you guys were gonna push us. So that's what I like about it. I know we're gonna have to catch some big fish to beat you guys, which you guys kicked our butt, but that's what I like. You guys are pushing us a little bit.
And I think it was a great opportunity too, because the three guys that went down there, me, Matt, and Adam, we couldn't be a better representative of the national team. We would literally give you our last piece of bait if it meant you guys fishing and not us. And we might not tell people exactly where to go during the tournament, but we will share all the knowledge. Like, if you ever want to hit me up or Adam up or Matt, those guys, and ask for advice or things that we did in certain tournaments to do certain things, we've been doing it for so long, and they're great guys. We have no issue helping anyone out. And that's not saying people need help. But like when I started, dude, I wasn't filling my bag in month longs. Like, it would sometimes take me 4 trips out in the month to fill a 5-fish bag. So like it was a giant learning curve for me. And I wish I had a support group like this when I started. I'm gonna be honest, because I was bad.
Yeah, I'm like Joe. I'm pretty much on YouTube. I'm Mr. Kayak Catfish fan, so he's taught me quite a bit.
Yeah.
And it's only going to be my 3rd year. I feel like I've learned a lot. So bring it on, boys. We'll get you this. We'll get you next year.
Yeah.
We need to have you guys against us, kind of a tournament. But we need more than 3 of you guys to show up.
Yeah. And Andrew actually brought something up for Louisiana. He asked maybe if we can do some kind of side pot for East versus West. So the guys west of the Mississippi and the guys east of the Mississippi who fish that tournament. Which that's not a terrible idea. I kind of really like that idea. So
yeah, I like that.
I'm thinking next year, if I can somehow swing it, Andrew, I would like to utilize that concept, but maybe like take 3 Texas guys, take 3 non-Texas guys, and have those guys competing for a pot of money on the side. I think that would be fun if we could get a sponsor to sponsor that.
Well, the Louisiana tournament coming up, the only people that are signed up are 3 of us Texas guys. So I don't know where them guys from up north are at.
Yeah,
they need to go ahead and get signed up for that.
I need to actually. You're staying in my Airbnb, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, I need to get that figured out. I still haven't got that. So I'll find a place though. Don't worry.
I got a tent if y'all need it.
That's awesome.
I don't want to stay in a tent down there.
Yeah.
No, I wouldn't either.
Andrew, I think you're the only one we haven't asked yet. How'd your fishing go? I mean, I know I saw it, but
Yeah. So pre-fishing was tough. So I guess it was Thursday afternoon. Flegel went and caught some striper and stuff. So when we went out pre-fishing Friday, I said, screw it. And I just pulled some crankbaits and caught some hybrids and stripers Friday instead of chasing catfish. But Saturday, day of the tournament, got out there. There's one decent hole right by the dam, by the spillway. And I suspended on that for a little while in the morning. And I caught a decent fish there.
Am I cool to pull it up?
Yeah.
I figured you wouldn't care, but
Okay.
I wanted to ask. The hole he's talking about is this guy right here.
Yeah.
So I just sat on that bottom contour where it drops off real.
Yeah.
Real
That was
good.
on my my hit list, but I never made it that over there.
I suspended that spot and I caught like a 35 inch fish suspended there. But I was catching fish suspended, but they weren't any good size to them. So I started dragging after that. And where I caught the big one was right at the dam, or right along the dam, dragging. So
Now, did you mention it was one of your smaller baits that caught your fish? Your big one?
yeah, that was only like an inch by inch piece of bait that caught that big one.
You know, it's funny you say that because I caught that 34-inch on a. It couldn't have been 2-inch little freaking bluegill that I had caught in the cast net. He won, but probably 2 inches.
Yeah.
Let me see here.
I was out fishing on a local lake here end of last week and caught a fish that was almost 42 inches, but it was on a huge piece of cut bluegill, a big old chunk of bluegill. So you never know what the fish is actually going to be.
So for me, this was a belly piece, and this right here is actually the piece of bait that caught this fish right here. That's all it was. Yeah, I mean, we're talking like a 1 inch by 2 inch sliver, like maybe about that big for reference. So yeah. I went bigger. I tried going bigger going home in the very beginning of the day because I was catching nothing but small fish the whole entire time. So I was like, you know what? To start my day, I threw fist size baits out to start my day, like ridiculously big size baits. But they just kept on getting ravaged, like just completely ransacked. So I had to make a switch.
Yeah, I usually have 2 big baits, 2 small baits out at all times, and then whatever's getting hit the most, then they get switched over to, if everything's hitting big baits, then it all gets switched over to big baits.
Yeah. Joe, were you about to ask a question? Did I cut you off there?
Yeah, it's already. I lost it.
Oh, I'm sorry. Sorry about that.
No, it's
sorry
fine.
About that.
I think I had a question. I think it was with regards to the measuring boards and stuff like that. I noticed a lot of people taking pictures with their grippers in the some of the harder plastic ones.
Mm-hmm.
How does that, or is it even like when taking the pictures? I mean, as somebody that's validating the picture or the measurements accurate before being scored. Is that something that's taken into consideration? Is that fish against that bump, or is it the actual grippers that's against the bump? You know what I mean? Like this one, you can obviously tell it's hanging off the top end, but where there's some of those plastic ones that are sometimes they're taking pictures because they're holding it with it. Like it. See how? So this one's
bad example because this one's very clear that it's bump. But I totally get what you mean. So Andrew and I, we typically have to do a judgment call. This one is clearly bump, but I see what you mean. Mm-hmm. I, believe it or not, had to, let's see here, this one. Nope, that's clearly bump. You guys do a really good job. I, earlier this year, had to knock a 1/4 inch or a 1/2 inch off of 8 fish in one tournament of my own fish because when I was night fishing, I had my lights on, but I was kind of blinded when I was taking the pictures. I did not realize every single time I had that fish hooked. Like, this is a bad example because it's such a big fish, but you see how it's over top the lip. Mm-hmm. It was blocking the bump on every single fish. On every single fish, it was blocking the bump. So I had to ding myself 8 different fish, a 1/4 inch or a 1/2 inch. But it is judge's discretion. It's not a black and white DQ. So if I think it's egregious, I'll ding an angler a half inch. If I don't think it's egregious, if I think it's definitely bumped, I'll just give them a quarter inch deduction. But it has to be penalized. If you can't see the bump, it definitely has to be penalized. Andrew, what's your take on that?
Yeah. So the bigger fish, it typically doesn't get in the way of the bigger fish because they're hanging over so much.
Yeah.
But the smaller fish, you just got to be aware. I know on some of my smaller fish, like I kind of angle those grips in towards the body a lot more, almost to where their mouth is open because of it. And that kind of prevents it or allows it to get that top lip all the way up on the bump.
Mm-hmm.
But you just got to kind of watch out for it when you're doing it, when you're taking your pictures.
Mm-hmm. I'm always lipping or freaking if it's big enough, cramming my hand in there to pull them in the kayak. But, I'm kind of curious as to what y'all's thoughts
and a lot of times, a lot of times with the bigger fish, by the time you get them in the kayak, they're done and they're not going to flop around a whole lot. So I don't use the grips a ton on the bigger fish, but I still do because I don't like tearing my hand up a whole lot. But a lot of times you can, once that fish is laid out, the big fish are laid out on the board, they're just going to lay there. Now, your channel cats and your smaller blues, they'll flop around. I almost lost my big plastic grips at Tawakoni because the smaller blue decided to throw a fit when I went to go release it. And I actually dropped the fish with the grip still in its mouth into the water, but he didn't swim off. I was able to reach down and grab him before he swam off and get my grips back.
Okay.
Oh, that's lucky. That's nice.
Here's another question pertaining to captains' meetups and stuff like that. Are there any thoughts to moving potentially the time back? I know it's North Texas kayak catfishing, but for somebody like myself, or if I've been talking with like my oldest son, and other friends that have been talking to me about wanting to get involved with it and stuff like that. But just so to be able to meet more of those meetings on
Right.
Just kind of curious, what your thoughts are on that. I know I've played around a couple of those meetings.
The reason we do the captain's meeting and the time slot we do them is because typically we try to find a sponsor for that event. Mm-hmm. A lot of times it's a bait shop. Most bait shops close at 6 or 7 o'clock. So if the bait shop closes at 7, then we got to find somewhere else to do those captain's meetings. So that 6 to 7 is kind of when we like to do those, just so we can get those sponsors. Like the fishing store out at Tawakoni has been a great sponsor. They sponsored us last year and this year.
Yeah.
They close at 7 o'clock. So I don't want to put them out and say, hey, we're going to show up between 7 and 8. If you can keep somebody on the clock an extra hour, then we show up. And now, this is kind of a bad example for it because the way they operate their bait shop, our guys spend money while they're there.
Yeah.
Because they go out and get fresh shad every day. And there's very few bait shops that go out and catch shad for their customers and sell fresh shad. And it's just they got a lot of really good gear. So we had a lot of guys buy stuff. But I'd hate to go to a place, our guys barely buy anything, and then not only do we get them to sponsor and give us money, but they're also having to pay an employee extra to stay an hour late and then not make their money back in the end. So that's kind of why we do that time frame. But in your case, I know you're traveling a long ways to come there, and the captain's meeting, it is mandatory, but it's not, if that makes sense. Like we want you there at the captain's meeting because again, they sponsored us. We want to try to get people in their doors. But if you're having to work late or you're traveling from a long distance to get there, or you have a legitimate reason you can't make that captain's meeting, like with you, Joe, I know I meet you once you get into town, check your board, give you your identifier. But we can also do that the morning of at the boat ramp if we need to.
Yeah.
But in the long run, we'd like to have you there at the captain's meeting. But the reason it's at that time frame is because of that, because the sponsor location.
Store, yeah. And it makes perfect sense. I just wasn't aware of it. That's why, because I know hey, if you move this thing back an hour, I'd be on time, type thing.
Yeah.
Nonetheless, it makes sense. Spend money to get money.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And we're the same exact way in the national trail. If you ever find yourself at one of the national events, if you got to travel in and you can't make it till the tournament morning or, hell, even midnight the night before, you can always come to my Airbnb. You check in there. Like Andrew said, the only thing that's not like it's mandatory, but it's not, because we don't want guys not. Here's the fear sometimes. We don't want somebody not coming to the meeting because they're chasing bait. That's an advantage the other anglers don't have. So if I ever find out someone's doing that, if they're chasing bait during the captain's meeting, even if they're chasing bait in their hometown 2 states away, it is a no, like my captain's meeting, I don't care where you're at in the country, it is a no fishing time during that captain's meeting time slot, because none of those other anglers who are at that captain's meeting has that luxury of being able to chase bait. So that's on the national side, that's the fear. But I mean, we would never tell someone they can't fish the event just because they can't make the meeting the night before. You know what I mean? Hell, I'd set an alarm for 2 or 3 a.m. if I had to, if that's when you were rolling into town. Don't matter to me.
Yeah.
Don't matter to me.
It's been times.
Yeah. And then real quick, shout out his sponsors. We have Fishing Store Bait and Tackle. This is where we had our pre-event check-in on Friday night. And then, I gave them $100+ for bait. And then we had Chow Camp. That was actually in the backyard, essentially the backyard of my Airbnb, which is really convenient for me. And they had a food truck there that was selling smoked food, and that was awesome. This is where we met after the tournament both of those days. So,
Yeah.
let me pull this back over. Jeff, do you have anything else? We're running about 45 minutes here. We're gonna wrap up here in a second. Jeff, do you have any? I'll hit you, I'll hit Joe, and then I'll hit Andrew, and then I'll close up. Do you have any last words? Anything? Because here's the thing: if you have any circumstantial criticism as well, Andrew and I aren't shy to be told, like, hey, we didn't like we didn't like A, B, or C, or if you want to say thank you or anything like that. If you have sponsors, anything you want to do, give us your closing words here.
No, I've been satisfied with all the rules that Andrew's put in place. Just look forward to it growing a little bit more, and to travel even towards Tennessee.
I'm looking forward to that. I can't wait to see more of you guys at those national events next year, kicking JJ's butt.
Yeah, so just keep up the good work. We appreciate you guys.
Thank you so much, Jeff. I'm going to knock you out of here, and then I'll head over to Joe. All right, let's see here. All right, Joe, give us your final words. Anything you want to say to us or have to say to us, here's your chance. Any kind of sponsors? You want to shout your wife out? You said she's your ride or die. That's awesome.
Yeah, she's definitely one. We've been talking a lot with her because there's the family, the Treese family. I know the wife is always out there fishing, trying to persuade her to come out. So we may look at doing that. Some of our local little water holes around here, trying to get her kind of climatized to it and whatnot. The fears of falling out of a kayak, but no, nonetheless, I think I've had plenty of opportunities to talk with Andrew, and so that just met him when we were fishing a different series that they were trying to get started up here in Texas. But nonetheless, man, he's helped me out quite a bit from paddles to boards and whatnot. Just, some advice from here and there, but I greatly appreciate it. I'm looking forward to it. I kind of missed the first 20 minutes or so of it. Was there schedules, or when was the schedule going to drop for?
Our schedule will be out by Friday this week. Okay. I've got one date that I've got to nail down the lake, but everything else I've pretty much got. So I'll have that out by the end of the week.
Did I hear you correctly too, that the championship was going to be in November?
Yeah, the championship will be in November next year, and that'll be Lake Worth, Eagle Mountain Lake. So that'll be a dual lake championship.
Okay.
And then the tournaments for the national side, if you go to tournaments, we have the schedule out. If 2026 temporary banner for the King Cat. These dates are 99.99% locked in. The locations are up in the air, but they're essentially going to be at those locations, and I'll explain here in a second. So we're in Alabama in March. In May, we're either going to be at Nickajack or Watts Bar they're an hour away from each other. We're just trying to decide which one, but that day is for sure secured. Sandusky's June. August or September is going to be Cape Girardeau or Hoover. It's going to be one of those two lakes on those days, or reservoirs on those days. I'm just not sure which one. I want to get Cape Girardeau. That's in Missouri. That's where the Mississippi meets the Ohio River. And there's also 2 Tennessee rivers that have dams that might be one of my favorite events of the whole year, because you have 4 different river options to fish. It's such a cool area to fish, and a lot of big fish are caught there. Then we're with you guys in Texas in October, and then we're back down in Louisiana in November.
Now, let me ask the both of you, because I mean, I know Andrew's fishing out of the new canoe, and I believe I saw your Kayak Mike. You're in the new Titan, is that correct?
The Bonafide XTR.
Bonafide, right? XTR. So when it comes to, and this is kind of one of those, amateur questions, I guess you would say, but
no such thing, man.
When it comes to scupper holes and scupper plugs, I was always under pressure when I'm fishing lakes, depending on the wind. I'm riding with them in, faster waters and whatnot. I keep them out in the event that I take on, some water, whatnot. But what are y'all's recommendations on that? I know y'all's kayaks are a hell of a lot better than mine, and I have scupper like half and half on the main quarterdeck of my kayak. However, I have the tendency to take in a lot of water in my kayak, and it's like, to a point sometimes where I got to start potentially bailing. But if I'm closer to the bank, I have to take time out to freaking get to the bank, kind of drain some water before I get back out and get comfortable with it all over again. But yeah, just kind of recommendation, because I know that my kayak isn't built for weight. I think my max weight's 450. So I carry batteries on it, obviously, for my trolling motor, which adds weight to the bow, and ultimately get the high wakes from some of those speedboats and whatnot kind of comes over it. So what is y'all's recommendations on using your scupper plugs? What types of water, I guess, really?
So Andrew, you want to go first, or me?
I'll go first. So typically with my kayak, I have the scupper plugs in all the time. Mm-hmm. Just because I like to overload my kayak, and it allows me to do that a little bit easier. Now, if I'm in rougher water, if I got a lot of water coming over the bow, I'll pull the plugs and just leave them out.
Hold on 1 second, Andrew. Can you, Joe, real quick, say what kayak you're in again for Dustin?
It's an Advanced Angler 120, 12-foot.
Also, for everyone who is curious, Dustin is the King Cat National Kayak Trail sponsor. Well, I don't necessarily they sponsor certain trails. He's a sponsor of OCT in general. That man's awesome. I love him. So I'm so sorry. What was it again?
It's an Advanced Angler 120. It's a Cabela's kayak. Yeah, Three Waters makes them. They actually make the 120. I can't remember what they're called from Three Waters. It's a Big Fish, I think is what it's called. Big Fish 120. Mm. But yeah, I don't even know the year of that thing. I actually, when I retired from the military, I took a job at Cabela's because I kept spending too much money there. So when I show up, it used to look like I was sponsored by Cabela's because I'm freaking rocking everything.
That's awesome.
But yeah, nonetheless, it's got quite a few scupper holes in it, and I'm like, well, do I should I leave them plugged, risk the water coming over with some of these bigger waves, when it comes to speedboats or whatever, or higher winds, it's like, well, then I gotta, bail water if I. So that's always my freaking, fight with myself is like, do I put them in? Do I leave them out? What should I do? And I mean, I guess it's just preference with weather, water.
Yeah. So I mean, we need to work on getting you in a better kayak. That's for sure.
yeah, that's for sure.
But
that guy's for. We'll get you up to Ohio.
But yeah, the scupper plugs, it's kind of a preference to some extent. I know a lot of guys that run the new canoes and don't ever run scupper plugs in it. Mm-hmm. But again, it depends on how dry you want to stay. If you don't mind a little bit of water on the floor, you can keep the scupper plugs out all the time, and it's not going to affect you a whole lot. Now with the motor, if you're going faster, I don't know what kind of speed you're getting. You can't have that water that rushes in from underneath while you're underway. But as soon as you slow down, it'll come back out. It's just a matter of, do you have compartments that are, if it starts filling up too quickly, are there compartments where water's going to get into?
So you see the scuppers right there in the front to the left
Yeah.
and right. Well, you only see one on the right hand side. There's another one on the left. So in these kayaks, there's a hardened deck. If you look just below the measuring board, there's that gray decking in there, and underneath there, there's more scupper holes. There's a total of 8 in the main cockpit there. So those 6 that are underneath there are plugged from underneath, and that's the only way I'd be able to get them because that deck isn't screwed in. So I would have to remove them prior to putting it in the water. You know what I mean? So what I'm finding out a lot is that I should, my wife talked about it with me as well. As like I should have removed at least the back ones because I do underway. Like I said, when I'm cutting waves or whatever case it be, I am bringing it in, but don't get so much water coming in from those scupper holes unless I'm leaning forward to take this picture or I'm trying to reel down on a fish. I'm just an extra little bit of weight, man. It's, kind of freaks you out because that water's just freaking, just rolling in and you're like, oh, let me sit back, and yeah, it does drain back, but there's, it definitely holds a lot of water in there. So I'm kind of like, one of those, do I just plug them and say, screw it? If it gets to that point where there's too much water, then I can, bail it out or get somewhere safe to freaking, whatever. But
if
I'm
I'm you,
too, that I'm trying to get more advanced with this, that I feel like I do need a bigger, more open that I can carry more weight and whatnot. So that's the necessity for a bigger kayak, I guess. And then I have weights of space in there that I can't reach up in the bow and in the stern. So it's just like, well,
yeah. And a lot of kayaks were designed for bass fishing.
Yeah.
And the way we fish for these big fish, where you have this console in the middle, it makes it a lot tougher.
Yeah.
With kayaks like that.
And if I was you, these front scupper plugs, I don't know how often I would be closing them. If it was a low pleasure boat lake and good conditions, I wouldn't have an issue closing all of them up for the day. You get a little more buoyancy, you stay a little drier. But if I think I'm going to be taking anything over the bow of this kayak where the water comes in, I personally don't think I would ever plug these two, just because if these are plugged, I don't know how flat the whole bottom of this kayak is, but if these are plugged, 2 big waves, you're in 4 inches of water in your kayak. Yeah. So that's why I personally would probably never plug these unless the conditions really warranted plugging them in. I personally, ever since I got out of my Jackson Take 2, I don't think I put a single scupper plug in, but the Take 2 I had to because the motor I had on it, once I got up about 4 or 5 miles an hour with the 24 volt, water would shoot up through the scupper plugs and fly through the kayak, and it wouldn't drain. So I would have like 10 gallons of water in the kayak if I did like a 20-minute run. Wow. So I did have to put scuppers in there. But Dustin actually agreed with me. And that guy's an actual professional. He's the owner. He's the owner of the Raccoon Creek Outfitter shop. Dustin made a great suggestion here. They make one-way scupper plugs where you could put them in, water can't come up, but water can go through. Now they do drain a little slower than not having a scupper plug in at all. So there's always that threat of if you take 2-3 big waves over top, it's not just going to suck out right away. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But that is an awesome that's an awesome suggestion because at least you got scupper plugs in. You can be a little more buoyant, and then if you do take water over, it will drain eventually. Now it's not slow. They don't drain slow. It's just it's not the same as having no scupper plug in at all. You know what I mean?
Yes. I got it.
Dude, I cannot wait to tell Ryan I got called sir twice.
Well, see, Mike, that's something people down here in Texas, we have manners.
Yes.
So sir and ma'am is a common thing that's said down here. So.
I'm just so used to be called such worse names.
Yeah. Well, those are usually warranted too.
Yeah. All right. Joe, hey, thank you so much for joining. I can't wait to see you again next year, and I hope I see you before that too. If you have any final word, no, those were your final words. Okay. Yeah. If you have anything else, any more questions, always feel free to hit me up anytime, day or night. I have my notifications off on Facebook on purpose. That way anyone can hit me up at any time. If you have a question at 3 a.m, send it to me. I will answer you the next day for sure. So.
Right on. I appreciate it, guys. Thank you for listening.
Thank you. See you later, bud.
All right now.
All right, Andrew, your final words.
So just last thing, just run through our sponsors for the event. So we had Fishing Store, which I mean that's a great bait shop. That guy does a phenomenal job there with that place, and he also guides there on Tawakoni. So if you want to go on a guided trip out there, you can hit up Fishing Store and go out there, and he can put you on some big fish on that lake. Then we have the Chow Camp, which those guys that owned that were great. They came out and talked to everybody, and they enjoyed having us there. Gar Billy's Fishing Rods was also a sponsor. We gave away one of their rods. I don't remember who got that rod, but we gave that away. The My Company as well, Worth Security, which I really don't care if we show that one or not. Then Blast and Cast Men's Ministry has been a big sponsor of our trail all year long. They give us a pretty substantial check at the beginning of the year to get prizes and to make everything work for us. So they've been great for us. That's pretty much it. I'll have our new schedule out for next year here by the end of the week. One thing we're going to do next year that people have been asking for, we will have a night tournament next year. So I get asked that all the time if we're ever going to do a night tournament. Well, we're doing one. So
that's awesome. That is awesome. I'm going to do a quick shout out. Shout out, obviously, to King Kat for having me run their kayak division. And giant shout out to Dustin Hoy, the owner of Raccoon Creek Outfitters, who has been hopping in the chat here, helping Joe out as well. And he is Mid-Ohio, sells, I mean, heck, half the kayaks or more at every single event that I'm at that I host, essentially, are kayaks from his. I think three kayaks in your tournament down in Texas at Tawakoni. 3 of those kayaks. So 1/5 of your tournament was Ohio RCO kayaks too. So that's pretty cool. I'm very grateful to the kayak catfishing community for being so supportive of our sponsors too. A giant shout out to the anglers themselves. Without the anglers, we don't do this. So
right.
I want to thank you for doing everything you're doing down there in the regional scene. I love seeing the regional scenes. I love working with the regional scenes to put on tournaments. So yeah, that's the end of me speaking. Oh, Ethan Miller said something. All right, Ethan said he got the rod. He's already putting it to work.
Awesome.
That's awesome.
And I saw, so they just released a new color too. So I just saw that, I think yesterday or today. So the Garbillies has a new color out for their rods too. So
that's awesome. All right. Well, Kayak Mike out of here. For Andrew Green, we're going to get out of here. Shout out North Texas Kayak Catfishing, professional kayak anglers, King Kat, online catfishing tournaments, RCO, all his sponsors, Chow Camp, all that fun stuff. We're going to hop off here. We went a little over an hour. Andrew, we'll be in touch, and I'll let you know. I'll get you the Airbnb information
awesome.
You're shooting.
Appreciate it, bud.
All right. See you, man.